the number of women that experience menstrual pain is really, really high. I think it's like 1 in 2 women have intense menstrual pain. We are taught very early on that we can ignore it. It's normal. If our body doesn't feel safe, it's really hard to think about reproducing, right? If you're running from a tiger in the jungle, you're not thinking about how do I make babies. We're so entrenched in the modern world with, oh, if you have PCOS, it's going to be really hard for you. If you ever get pregnant, you're not going to have a good pregnancy.
Right.
If you have endometriosis, you'll never get pregnant.
Welcome to the Pink Book Podcast. I am your host, Joyce Van Setters, and I continue to bring you game changers and innovators who are redefining their success. As we close out this year, I would like to do something special and bring on someone who's in the healthcare industry, specifically for women. So I have today a double board certified naturopathic endocrinologist. Say that 10 times fast. Dr. Aumatma Simmons, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Joyce. It's great to be here.
Of course. I am so looking forward to this. I've been looking forward to it all month, ever since we planned this. Um, Dr. Aumatma Simmons, where are you from?
I am, that question can go a lot of different directions.
Seriously.
I was born in India and
Okay.
then grew up on the East Coast, lived up for a long time in California, and now I'm a Houstonian.
Okay. For someone who's just turning on this podcast, I first want to say we're gearing this towards women's health today. For someone who's just turning on this podcast, can you tell us what exactly it is that you do and why this is so important for women to be watching this today?
Yeah, absolutely. So fertility can go in a lot of different directions. Most of the time, it hits us in the face because we don't expect it. We've been programmed and have thought our whole lives that it's just going to be instantaneous when we decide that it's time. And then we start trying and we're like, oh crap, it's not working. Why isn't it working? Am I broken? So my job has really been to help create a kind of integration between the Western world that says that you immediately need IVF, which costs thousands of dollars and is pumping you full of hormones. And then the natural world, which is like, oh, you just need to be accountable and do the lifestyle thing. And yes, the lifestyle thing matters. But for people that have been struggling for years, I think it's that the middle ground is really how do we integrate the science with the quote unquote woo side? And I'm putting it in quotes because it's not actually woo. There's a
Right,
lot of
right.
research on it. But so I'm basically a hormone nerd
Okay.
and
I love
I
it.
approach hormones with uh kind of like full body systems. So it's not just fertility hormones. When people say fertility, they're like, oh, you're talking about estrogen and progesterone. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm also talking about thyroid and adrenals and
Right.
melatonin and brain health and like so many things that all integrate with what our estrogen and progesterone is doing. So from the hormone side, I really approach it from this whole person, whole systems approach because it's all interconnected. There's no one, oh, your ovaries are independent of everything else in your body. Like our body doesn't do that.
Right.
So why do we think of it that way?
Interesting. Interesting. All right, let's start from the beginning of your tale. So you were born in India. At what age did you come to United States?
9.
9. Okay. And what were you like as a child? Like, were your family in the healthcare industry? What were you like?
So my dad's kind of funny. He wanted to be a doctor his whole life.
Okay.
But in India, becoming a doctor is extremely competitive, at least in his day it was. And you could only get into medical school if you got like 99.99% on this exam, this entrance exam. And if you didn't make the cut, then you were going to do something else with your life. So he ended up being in the science, he was doing like chemistry. And then when we moved here, he got into pharmaceutical industry. And the funny thing about his background is that he thought he was a doctor. So he would literally never brought me to a doctor in my life. And I'd be
Okay.
like, but I'm sick. I need to go to the doctor. And he would be like, yeah, here, drink this stuff.
I got your
And it was,
tincture right here.
yeah. He'd be like, here's this nasty, like, herbal thing. And I'm just like, I remember just being so frustrated with it. And then the other side was that he was in the pharmaceutical industry. So he knew what was going into these medications
Mm,
that are being sold over the counter or by prescription. And he was just like, absolutely not. You're not putting that into your body.
yeah.
So I have a funny story. I used to get massive migraines when I was young, like
Hmm.
13, 14, 15. And by the time I was 15, he found that I would basically like self-medicate with Advil, and I would pop a few of them every day as
Right.
like the solution to getting out of pain.
Wow.
And he saw me doing it, and he like he took the bottle of Advil that we had in the house, opened it up, dumped it all in the toilet, and he's like, "That's it. We're not gonna be buying any more of this."
Right.
And I was like, "What? You're taking away my crutch. Like,
Oh
that's how I
no.
live in this world." And,
How old were you?
it I was 15. So, it was not a good time.
Right.
I used to get menstrual cycle pain, like, I would be doubled over in pain,
Mm,
wanting to lay in bed all day. And of course, they were like, no, you need to go to school. You're not staying home. And so, like, I learned a lot of the behaviors that I learned were push through pain, get
yeah.
over it. No, you're not in pain, you're making it up. um, and very quickly, like, learn to not listen to my body and not listen to what it was trying to tell me.
Mm,
And like it really laid the foundation for what I do now, right? It's so much of like, how do we learn to listen to our bodies, because
right.
we've all been disconnected from our body in some way. And then how do we empower ourselves with what it is that our body is trying to tell us?
Right.
And I think that it's often very wise. It's telling us lots of things, but we don't have the filter, or we don't have the like interpretation to be able to know what our body is saying.
Right.
So it's really like, the number of women that experience menstrual pain is really, really high. I think it's like 1 in 2 women have intense menstrual pain.
Yeah.
And we are taught very early on that we can ignore it, that we don't need to listen to it, we don't need to uh it's normal, right? It's like become such a part of women being told, "Oh, it's fine. It's normal. It's going to go away. Just take some Advil."
Yeah.
And for me, it's really led to this like many decades of trying to figure out, like, what is it? Why is there pain? And how do I really get to the root of it so that
Right.
I don't experience pain every single month? That's not a normal
Did you
to be
have
in.
did you have something else going on? Did you have endometriosis? Or I'm asking only because I used to have pain so bad that I would have to save up my school days to stay home, when I was on my cycle. And it turned out I had endometriosis. I don't know, the extent of it because I would just pop Advil like you and move on with my life.
I never got diagnosed.
Okay.
I did go, my first OB visit was at 18. My
Okay.
mom dragged me in there. And they did a gyne exam, and they were like, "We don't find anything. She's fine. Like,
Right.
pain is not a reason to get any testing." And then but I went to naturopathic medical school, and while I was in school, I really got to the bottom of it and
What college did
was
you go
able
to before this?
it's so I went to undergrad at Rutgers
Okay.
University in New Jersey, and
Oh,
then I
okay.
went to
Jersey
University of
girl.
Bridgeport. Yeah, University of Bridgeport College of Naturopathic Medicine in Connecticut
Oh,
for
wow.
medical school. Yeah.
I'm from Jersey and I live in Connecticut now.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a world. What
Very
part of
small.
Connecticut?
The Mystic area, New London area. Do you know
Okay.
that area?
Okay.
Yeah. It's about an hour,
That's yeah.
yeah, from
Yeah.
Bridgeport.
Yeah. Yeah. So I by the time I got into medical school, I figured out a lot of what my body was trying to tell me, and it was slowing down. It was stop being a perfectionist. It
Mm,
was how do you restore the sense of safety in your body that was taken away from you at a very young age. And that's really what I've been doing. So I never got diagnosed,
okay.
probably because I resolved it in some
Mm,
way, shape, or form, or it just wasn't endometriosis. And
right.
yeah.
Okay. Um, Now watched your TED Talk. I also know that
Mm,
you're also a best-selling author. Um, And I would love for you to give a brief excerpt of this TED Talk because ladies, you have to watch it from beginning to end. It's just a roller coaster, but it ends really well. Could you just give us like a brief excerpt of that? And I'm also going to add the link to your TED Talk in this.
yeah. Yeah. It really came out of like
Your
my
story.
TED Talk coach was, yeah, my coach was like, there's so much that you want to share with people about fertility and what you've learned, but how do you like put it down into something that is going to help people make a difference now?
Yeah.
So the TED Talk really focuses on this idea of safety, which I think is a through line for so much of my own life, but also what I've seen with my patients. And what we have found is that when we move away and out of safety, then our body really shuts off reproduction.
Mm,
So we can't be in both places at once. If our body doesn't feel safe, it's really hard for for to think about reproducing, right? Like if you're running from a tiger, and I say this a lot in the TED Talk, if you're running from a tiger in the jungle, you're not thinking about how do I make babies?
right.
That's the last thing on your mind. You're
Right.
also not thinking how do I digest my food? You're thinking about how do I take all of the reserves that I have and move it into my extremities so that I can either fight or flight.
Right.
So the things that get shut off are digestion, r- healing, and reproduction.
Mm,
And yet, so many of us are in this like fight or flight state often,
yeah.
and we don't realize it, right? So I can give you an example of when I was in medical school, I would sigh a lot. And one of my colleagues pointed it out, and she's like, "Are you stressed?" And I was like, "What? No, I'm not stressed." And I remember it so distinctly because it took me years after, and I spent some time at a monastery just meditating. And when I was there, I was like, "Oh, this is what it feels like to not be stressed." That
Mm,
means like my entire life I've been at like 10 plus levels of stress and didn't even realize
wow.
it.
Reason for
So
those headaches, huh?
yeah, yeah, exactly. That'll be. And I was like, I learned very early that I was a perfectionist. I had to do everything perfect in order to be loved. Like there were all these stories that I had made up that that kept me in this like pressure cooker state
Yeah.
uh since like a very young age. So yeah, I so the TED Talk is really focused on this idea of if we can restore safety in our bodies, then our nervous system relaxes and we create the opportunity for reproduction to happen more easily. Your body kicks it back on when it realizes that you're not running from a tiger or a lion in the jungle. So, uh, like, it seems like a weird way to get to fertility from it, but I think it's one of the core things that I try to help people do. And the way that safety or unsafe shows up in the fertility realm is really different for each couple. So we really have to look at each person and say, okay, what is your life story? How do you get to this point in your life? What are the stories you've created? What are the mental, emotional, spiritual things that you have created in your life that are now telling your body you're not safe, which is then telling your body, hey, this is not time for babies. It's time for
Right.
everything but babies. So that's kind of the gist of the TED Talk. And then I share a few easy tools that I think everyone could learn and benefit from, regardless of if you're trying to get pregnant or not,
Okay.
because I feel like safety, remember I said safety is, I only talk about fertility aspect in the TED Talk, but not feeling safe in your body turns off digestion, reproduction, and healing.
Okay.
And that healing is kind of core, right? Like our bodies can heal themselves,
Yeah.
but if there's a block, if there's a reason why our body's not healing itself, it's because we're in this like fight flight state and we're not, our body's not getting the sense of like, oh, I'm safe, I'm okay,
Yeah.
and I can let go and release and allow what needs to happen. But instead we're like stuck in these control, like, no, I have to control it and I have to take all my
Right.
supplements and I have to
Right.
eat this way and I have to do this and do that. And all of those things are good and helpful, but if you don't have the core underlying energy that's going to
Mhm.
help support those things, it's a lot of upward struggle.
That's amazing. What are some things, just a couple of tools from your perspective, that you would say for women over 40 that they could do
Mm.
to heal their bodies?
Mhm. I think I will share some of the ones that I shared in the TED Talk because those are
Great.
actually my favorite ones, and I think that they're super easy. The first one is body scanning, and that's a really simple practice. I just pretend like I have a scanner in front of me that's like looking into my body,
Hmm.
and you're not trying to like do anything, you're just observing. And what you're observing is like, oh, you get to your shoulder and you're like, oh, there's some tenseness there. Okay. Maybe you pause for an extra breath and then you keep it moving. And by the time you get to the top of your head again and start scanning again, you're like, oh, that shoulder pain isn't there anymore. Okay, keep observing, right? So
Yeah.
you're like doing this scan as a way to just get a sense of what's happening in your body. And there's I'm probably going to misquote the studies, but this technique actually has a lot of research, and it's like 36 to 40%, something in that range, that's the level of stress reduction that you get from doing this for 5 minutes a day.
Wow. And you just keep going through it from head to
Yeah.
toe.
Yeah. You set your timer for 5 minutes and then you're just going scanning, 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 scanning as many times as you can.
Yeah.
Slow, fast, doesn't matter. If you get through it once, that's fine. If you get through it 10 times, that's great. It doesn't matter.
I like that
And
tool.
yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's free and it takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
This is not like asking people to meditate for 3 hours a day,
Right.
right? It's a lot easier, a
Right.
lot easier. So that's one of my favorites. Um, Another tool is going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day. And that, it sounds weird because like I'm the queen of, oh, I get to sleep in today.
Oh,
But
really?
but it's really, uh, the stability of going to bed at the same time, waking
Mhm.
up at the same time every single day, no matter what. Doesn't matter what day of the week it is. And I add to that to for my clients, I'll usually say scheduling your meals down to this is the time I eat every
Mhm.
day.
Mhm.
This is the you could even go to the this is the time I poop every day. Like as much of your daily routine
Mhm.
as you can get into a stable, consistent schedule is has a twofold effect. Based on research, it's a 38% or something. The numbers are not
That's
my
okay.
thing, but some like very high percentage of um, improvement in menstrual cycles, which means the hormones that signal your menstrual cycles,
Mhm.
as well as just this sense of safety. And then B, the thing that I learned in Ayurvedic medicine, which I studied in India for a bit,
Mhm.
is that stability or that consistency is actually decreasing vata. That's a type of energy in our body that is very frequently aggravated when we're
Mhm.
stressed.
I know exactly what
So
I know the world of Ayurveda very well.
yeah, I thought you might. So that if there's one antidote to vata, and of course there's like herbs and there's food you can eat and there's supplements and so many things,
Mhm.
but from a lifestyle aspect, the one thing that is going to help decrease vata in the body is going to be this like stability and consistency and are like I am a vata type, which means my tendency is to go all over the place.
Yeah.
And I have pitta, which is the fire element. So between the two of those, my like I really resist schedules. I
Okay.
resist stability. I resist like
Really?
the same thing every freaking day, right? I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, I had lunch at 12 yesterday. I'm gonna
Right.
change it up just for fun. But like my body is gonna thrive when I'm able to bring it down into consistency.
Yeah.
So that's really a great and easy tool. Again, almost free, doesn't
Yeah.
take any effort. And the only like on surface thing that you have to do is set an alarm to sleep and to wake up every single day and stick to it. Don't
It's
hit
so
the snooze
interesting.
button, get
That's
out
so
of bed.
interesting that you say that because I eat the same thing every week. Like just, Monday is the same thing, Tuesday. And people always say to me, don't you get bored with that? And it's like just so comfortable for me that I don't even know how to fit boredom into that. It's just so structured. And
Yeah.
I work off discipline and structure like that. I'm a military brat. So I work off discipline and structure, and that's how I function through life.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to be my friend, put it that way.
Yeah. And like yeah, that kind of structure is something that I wish I could have and be my dad was very militant. He
Okay.
was never in the military, but very militant. So it would be like Sunday at 6 in the morning, he's
Mhm.
waking us up. And I'd be like, "Ah, I'm gonna kill this man. Right? Like like I would be 14, 15. I'm a teenager. I
Right.
stayed up all night. Like I do not want you waking me up at 6 o'clock on a Sunday. But there was so much wisdom to what he was doing.
Mhm.
I just didn't know it, right? I
Right.
needed a whole ton of research to back it up.
And now you're
um,
promoting it, right? With
right. Yeah,
business at the same
exactly.
time.
Exactly.
That's
What a full
amazing.
circle.
Right?
Yeah.
Full circle. Um,
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit. I know you specialize in fertility, but you also
Mm.
specialize in PCOS, correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
so I have a lot of young clients that I train that suffer from that. Can you talk to us a little bit about what PCOS is exactly and some tools maybe that they can do naturally to help with that?
Hmm. Yeah. So PCOS is titled polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Hmm.
I think it's mistitled a lot
Okay.
because on the surface, what it sounds like is, oh, you have cysts on your ovaries, which is true for maybe 30% of
Mm.
women that have PCOS. But there's a whole lot of people that have PCOS that don't have cysts on their ovaries.
Right.
So now we get into, okay, so if they don't have cysts on their ovaries, why do they have PCOS? And what is it really? And it's a metabolic disorder that has a component of blood sugar and insulin dysregulation, which causes anovulatory cycles at times.
Mm.
There are people that have kind of the inflammatory component, which is also going to maybe affect ovulation. It affects cycles. It affects the length of cycles. It affects how implantation will happen if they are trying to get pregnant.
Mm.
So there's an inflammatory component. And then there is kind of the high testosterone slash androgens in general. So androgens are all the like andro male ish hormones. They don't only just exist in men,
Yeah.
but when we have too many of those hormones, it can lead to some of the same things that men experience, which is male pattern baldness, hair, facial
Mm.
hair growth around the belly button, around the nipple. There's a lot of like uh kind of quote unquote side effects or things that women notice
They're
when
not
they
pretty.
have
No.
no. And and then like the weight gain, the kind of inability to lose weight. And a lot of women with PCOS will come and say, oh, my doctor said I have to lose 30 pounds before I can do IVF. And like that's what they're told is
Wow.
go lose some weight
Right.
when
And you'll get
they're
pregnant.
like, I've been trying to lose weight for my entire life. So you telling me to lose weight is not actually helpful.
Right.
Uh, but the workaround is really to address the things that they have going on. So
Okay.
if someone has high levels of inflammation, which is causing their weight and their insulin resistance and whatever, then dealing with the inflammation is the way to go and fix it.
Okay.
So in that scenario, for example, I would say, hey, like fish oils, turmeric, um, anti-inflammatory diet, figuring out what foods are causing your inflammation. Those are all the ways that we would go about someone who had the inflammatory kind of PCOS.
Mhm.
So I'm a big proponent of instead of putting a label on it, really working with women as like, let's figure out what do you have going on, which combination of things, and what are the triggers for you that are unique that are triggering your PCOS. And I can tell you, I had a she was 34. This is probably 6 or 7 years ago.
Mhm.
She was 34 years old. She, I looked through her labs and I was like, you have PCOS. And she fought me on it. She was like, I don't have PCOS. I've never been diagnosed with that. And I was like, okay. And what I saw in her picture was that she had kind of there's a couple of hormones that go out of whack. So her LH, luteinizing hormone, was
Mhm.
way higher than her FSH, follicle stimulating
Okay.
hormone. And we often will see that in PCOS women. And then,
Really?
yeah. And then on top of it, she had insulin resistance. She had a difficulty losing weight. She had kind of it wasn't super high, but her testosterone levels were like little on the high side.
Elevated? Yeah.
So to me, I was thinking everything I see is you have PCOS and or you have a PCOS like thing. And she was just like, no. And I was like, okay, no problem. It's all good. We're
Right.
gonna work with what we see. I don't care what the label is
Right.
anyway. So let's go at it. And we worked on her insulin resistance and all the things that we had figured out. And she got pregnant like 7 months into working with
Wow.
me. And she had been trying for 3 years at that point. So she was very ecstatic. She got pregnant and she was like, okay, great. Thank you so much. See you later. And I get a random message from her, like in her second trimester. So she was like 4 or 5 months into pregnancy. She messages me and with like a text message of a photo. And I look at the photo and it was the most random thing that it was like a diagnosis of PCOS from some doctor like
No.
years and years ago. And she's like, I'm so sorry I fought you on this.
Oh my
I did
goodness.
have PCOS. I was
Wow.
diagnosed with it years ago. And I was like, well, good thing you don't have to worry about it because we dealt with the insulin resistance and the testosterone and the thing that was creating your hormone imbalances.
Yeah.
You're good. And she's like, I'm not at risk for gestational diabetes. I was like, no, you worked on that already. You don't have to worry about it.
Wow.
And she had a completely healthy pregnancy, no problems. Uh, but it was just hilarious. Yeah, it's just to me it's funny when
Does the
like we are
pushback
so
come from you
attached to
being a
it.
naturopath or no?
The pushback of what?
Of a diagnosis. Like if you said to someone, I feel like you have this, even though there's lab work in front of you, does that
Mm,
pushback come from you being a naturopath or you don't think so? Just
I don't think so. She was a nurse actually, so
okay.
she had a medical background
Okay.
and she I think sometimes, especially with PCOS and endometriosis, when people are trying to get pregnant,
Mm,
they really don't want to hear that as a
okay.
possibility because we're so entrenched in the modern world with, oh, if you have PCOS, it's going to be really hard for you. If you ever get pregnant, you're not going to have a good pregnancy.
Right.
If you have endometriosis, you'll never get pregnant, right? Like women are told that every single day. So when they hear these big words, then they're like, oh my God, oh crap. And it's never going to happen for me. And so I veered away from it altogether because it does scare people. But when I say, "Oh, your insulin is dysregulated," people are like, "Oh, well that's something I can do something about, right?"
Right.
I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." You have inflammation. Oh, I can do something about that, right? So it changes the way that we resonate with what is happening in our bodies
Yeah.
when we don't have these like big labels on it, I think.
I
And I think
understand
that,
that.
yeah, and I think that with fertility especially, they're already like so devastated that they're going through this. They don't want another label. They're just like, yeah, good. Keep those away from
Right.
me.
Please
uh,
stop.
yeah.
I understand that. That's actually a great way to think of treatment. You know, when someone comes in with something and you diagnose them instead of giving them that big label, you just actually cut down the problems, like
Yeah.
the inflammation, and that's amazing. I feel like we all should be treated that way. No matter what the symptoms are. I'll give you an example. Whenever someone um, says they have irritable bowel syndrome, it always annoys me because it's just an umbrella for
Yeah.
something
It's
that's
like, what
going
does
on
that
with
even
you. Yeah, it's like what do you mean you have irritable bowel syndrome? Like we all have that. But
mean?
it's literally an umbrella for something else that's going on. And people are always telling me, I've been diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome. I can't eat that. I can't eat this. And it's just so crazy, especially, when you have a healthcare background, you're like,
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
what you're saying really resonates with me. That's amazing. Um, I wanted to talk about your books. I know you have two books. I read one of them. I know one was called Fertility something. You'll have to remind me, and the other one
Or
was
two.
What Your Doctor Won't Tell You about having a
Yeah.
baby. That's the one I read. Not that I'm looking to have a baby, but I just thought it was interesting
Yeah.
from that perspective, from a naturopathic perspective. But yeah, talk to
Yeah.
me about your books.
Yeah. So the big one is fertility secrets, what your doctor didn't
Okay.
tell you
Yes.
about baby making. And that's like I wrote that full book. The
Wow.
other one is compilation of different stories and different like healthcare providers sharing about infertility. And that one is infertility in parentheses,
Mm,
infertility.
love it.
It was a good title. It's just a hard title to say. Uh, uh, eh, it, something it has a sub subheading that I don't even remember, but
Okay.
um, that one is kind of a summary of my approach to fertility.
Okay.
The Fertility Secrets talks a lot about what what are we I feel like when I tripped into the fertility world,
Mhm.
it was kind of a shocker to me of how little I knew and how much misinformation I believed.
Mm.
And when I woke up out of that haze, I remember being like, WTF. I
Right.
was irate for so long
Yeah.
that I was like, wait, but why was I taught all of this stuff if it's not true?
Yeah.
And it upset me so much that I was like, oh, I'm putting this into a book. And that's literally the book is all of the misconceptions that I feel like every woman should know. I don't care
Mm.
if they're trying to get pregnant or not. It's just it's women's health. It's education about our bodies that has been kind of kept under wraps in a lot of ways. And I still like I keep finding things that I'm like, wait, what why won't we tell women about this?
That's the next book.
So yeah, it is. It is my next book is called Hormonal Leadership.
Oh,
Um
okay. And when is
it
this?
is hopefully coming out next year.
All right. I'm
Fingers
into it.
crossed.
I love it.
And yeah, and it's about like in kind of what I've been doing already, like the integration of all the hormones,
Mhm.
but how it applies to leadership in our lives. So whether that applies to getting pregnant or creating a new baby or creating a new baby as a business
Yeah.
or being a CEO of whatever company, like it applies in a lot of places that I really feel like we kind of put women and our hormones as like, oh, she's hormonal
Yeah.
as like a diss, right? It's a, oh, like let's not mess with her, she's hormonal.
Yeah.
But instead, like I have the ad campaign in my head already, and
Do
it's
you?
like a bunch
I
of
love it.
leaders around the world that are like, I'm hormonal. I'm fucking hormonal.
Oh, we're gonna
And
need
I'm
some t-shirts, girl.
yes. Yes. So, I really feel like we are in a time where men and women need to not just embrace the fact that we have hormones, but actually realize that our hormones are in service of humanity
Mm.
and in service of the mission and the vision that we have for our lives, whatever that is. You want to
Right.
be a homemaker or you want to be a CEO, I don't really care. Your hormones are there to be in service of whatever your vision is.
Wow.
And if we can actually understand our hormones in that way, then we have way more power that we have not even, like, we don't even realize is just sitting
We haven't tapped
there.
into it, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Love that.
So I'm very excited for women to kind of re-embrace and like reclaim what has always been ours that has been kind of pushed off to the side as
Mhm.
like a negative when actually like we just haven't fully understood it.
Right. That is amazing. I am so happy to have this conversation with you today. Going into 2026, are you doing anything fun for the new year?
Uh no.
Okay,
I'm
me neither.
meditating.
Me neither. It's really not my holiday. I like it. I would like us to normalize not texting each other at midnight and saving it for the next day, especially on a weekday because I actually work. Um,
Yeah,
but anyway,
my
going
phone
into
will be off.
right
Airplane
2026,
mode.
are there any tips that you would have for women over 40, 50, like myself, just, going forward, to try to live a healthier life naturally?
Uh, Gosh, I think I think the foundations apply everywhere, which
Okay.
is sleep, high quality sleep that is at least the minimum that we should get. Our bodies are different, so
Mm,
between 6 and 9 hours is someone's optimal. Figure out what yours is.
right.
And then uh food, like figuring out what your inflammatory foods are and taking them away. Just kind of again individualized to a certain extent because there are foods that all of us have issues with,
Yeah.
but there are specific foods for each person.
Okay.
So just knowing what are the foods that trigger my gut? How do I get rid of them? How do I stay off of it? And then similarly, I would put in that into that bucket alcohol, caffeine, like all the quote unquote vices that a
Yeah.
lot of people are like, oh, but that's my one vice.
Right.
Right? Think about getting rid of it, maybe. And then like exercise, figure out your exercise routine, figure
Yeah.
out what's right for you. I think that there's a lot of buzz on social media about specific types of exercise. There's a lot of research that's come out about weight training that is super vital for women, especially. But also, like, how does that fit into your life stage? So,
Hmm.
if you're in perimenopause versus menopause, things are going
Yeah.
to shift. Versus if you're trying to conceive, it's going to be very different.
Right.
So, finding the right right type of exercise, the right amount of exercise where you're not overdoing it but you're getting what you need for your the health of your body. And then toxins and just eliminating as many toxins as you can
Hmm.
because those are not going away. Our world just keeps creating
Yeah.
new toxins.
Seriously.
Uh, so figuring out what are the lowest hanging fruit for me to get rid of and how do I eliminate it from my life. And again that might be different for different people, but I think there's some like really easy ones like getting rid of plastic from your cooking and drinking,
Yeah.
uh, getting rid of nonstick cookware, getting rid of chemicals in your cleaning products, right? Like,
Mm.
we had a cleaning lady show up one time after we had already told her, like, we're all natural. We do not do toxins in this house. We will buy you all of the cleaning products we want you to use.
Right.
And she shows up with Fabuloso, which I was
Not
dying.
fabuloso.
I could smell it all over my bathroom. I
Oh my
wigged
gosh.
out. I was like, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Oh, this was really stained, so I needed something stronger than your stuff." I'm like, "Okay, this is gonna be the end of our
Right.
relationship because
Well, if you don't put some
you don't
elbow
need
grease in
Fabulous."
there.
Yes. Yes. Figure out something else,
Yes.
but you are not going to take side shortcuts or like, oh, your chemical stuff works better.
Right.
Like maybe it does, but I don't
Just
care.
takes a
Like
little
we
bit
did
longer
not
to
use
put
that.
some elbow grease in there. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
literally
Yeah.
use lavender and vinegar to clean.
Mm,
Yeah, lavender gives it
that's
a nice
amazing.
smell, so it's not so pungent.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah.
also actually takes away the yellow discoloration. Like if you have yellow on your grout, lavender will
Thank-
actually pull from it.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I don't think I knew
Stick with me, kiddo.
that.
Those are some great tips, great tips. And I would just like to add on, from an umbrella perspective, from a strength perspective, just I would just I would just encourage women to discover their strength and embrace change, because
Mm.
I hear so many of my friends always telling me that they're so afraid to get out of a situation, or I don't want to be, I've been with this person for 20 years, and I'm like, don't make it 20 years in 1 hour. Like, embrace change. We're changing all the time, right? You, like you said, you were 15, you came from India, we're changing all the time. So we need to just embrace it, whatever avenue
Yeah,
it comes in,
facts.
right? Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Doctor. This was a great conversation, and I hope everybody gets, you gave us some great tidbits. I hope everybody gets something from this. What I had planned to do, and I will contact your Ruby with your schedule if you let me know, is after the podcast, I wanted to put together maybe some questions that people, because I'm sure they're going to have tons of questions after this, and maybe you and I could do like an IG live one day where we answer a couple of questions.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right, as long as you have the time. Thank
Yeah.
you so much again. And with that, I want to let everybody know I am still on Apple and Spotify. I'm also now on Audible, on Amazon, and if this is, and YouTube. And if this is something that resonates with you, join my community because the best is yet to come.